Greetings and salutations, YouTubers and malefactors. We're back out here burning to death at Stop Logic Motorsports in the Texas heat. And we're doing a little video today. I full on mean to do a deep dive into this Pirelli MT21 when I get a chance. However, I just still wanted to get some more impressions about it. So far I don't have the best impressions of it. But we're going to do a little bit of a comparative video. So right here we have the Pirelli MT21 in 120, 80, 18 size. The Tusk Dsport 120, 90, 18 with about 2K miles on it. And the brand new venerable Dunlop D606. So we're going to do a little bit of a scientific analysis today because, well, time to bust out the durometer. So I've been riding this tire for a bit, ever since the Dsport race. Just not been having the best go of it, and I was planning to do another TCCRA race possibly next weekend if everything works out fine. And well, instead of spooning back on this Tusk Dsport with 2K miles on it, I'm going to save that for a friend, or if they need another tire, because there's still plenty of life left in this thing. And I got a D606. So the first thing to note on these three tires is, see the knob spacing. There's plenty of room on this tire to clean out. Same with the Tusk Dsport, but there's alternating areas where you have a wide space and then a narrow space. In the mud, this tire left a little bit to be desired, but the wear characteristics are amazing. And this is the tire that the Tusk Dsport's spirited reproduction is based off of, the D606, which has a uniform width between most of these knobs. Now the front tires are far closer in appearance and configuration, but the rear tires are, you know, a little bit different. Your trailing edge knobs and your edge knobs here are more uniformly spaced as opposed to alternating spaces, which honestly this tire performed admirably in almost every condition. Sand, mud was decent, street was great, hard pack. It's been quite a while since I've ran a D606, so we'll do kind of a deep dive on that tire. And then we have the Pirelli MT21. So everyone that's ever owned a WR250R has been suggested to get this tire in the rear and the MT21 up front. But I decided in my infinite wisdom that I would use the MT21 in the rear. I'm kind of starting to see why many people never recommend this tire. Notice that there's a paddle effect on the Tusk, and definitely a paddle effect on the D606. When I was racing Jacksboro, there was about 4 miles of deep sugar sand, and I was having trouble gaining any sort of traction. So like in any loose pack, like at Texplex on the motocross track where they have the tracks freshly tilled, or any sand, this tire wasn't giving me enough forward momentum. This tire would perform fairly well on the sand. It still had a fine paddling effect, but I kind of figured I would go for the D606. So the first thing is, let's check the durometer. So the hardness of the Tusk Dsport is a durometer of 7.5 for hardness. The D606 is, well, almost the exact same. A little softer. And the Pirelli MT21 is also, well, actually it's a slightly softer rubber. So your durometer is basically how hard your rubber is and how long it'll take these tires to wear out. These all being relatively the same durometer on the street, you're going to get probably similar mileage. I have about 600 miles on this Pirelli, 2,000 on the Tusk, and 0 on the D606. But a thing to bear in mind is the knob height from the Pirelli is drastically less than the Tusk Dsport and the D606. The initial starting knob height on this tire was about 1/4 of an inch lower than the Tusk Dsport and the D606. The lack of true paddle effect on the tire would kind of relegate this tire to being, well, really a hard pack tire. I can't really wholeheartedly endorse this tire's drive characteristics, especially on the WR250R. We're already lacking power, and having a lack of forward drive is definitely not a positive for trying to get the front wheel up or trying to get up obstacles and hills and everything. This tire's proven to be kind of a headache to deal with. Likely I'm going to just go ahead and remove it when I show up at the TCCRA race, toss on this bad boy, and we'll do a deep dive on it. But I just wanted to do a short video with the 3 different tires to show kind of a difference in tread pattern, a difference in I guess design philosophy, what conditions each of them would perform fairly well at, and also to know how hard the rubber is. And just as a reference, we also have the Shinko MX216 up front, which this one has about 500-600 miles on, and it's got a little bit of feathering and scalloping, but not much. I've tried to avoid riding the road as much as possible, but you'll notice why it has such a there we go. Why this tire wears so quick is it has a durometer almost 20 points less than the rear tires. So this is a pretty soft rubber compound. This Shinko handles almost everything great in the dirt once you air it down to about 14-15 pounds. It's a relatively soft carcass, so it's easy to install. And if you want to ride in more adverse conditions, they have a 4 different types of this tire now. They have this 90-90-21, which has reinforced lugs. This is more street oriented tire. It still works great in the dirt, but this is reinforced for more street use. And then the 180-21 doesn't have this reinforcement, slightly wider tire. And then you have the first cheater tire, which is a 90-121, which has a bigger sidewall you can air down with. And then they have what's called the 90-121 cheater, which is this tire but with a durometer 10 points softer than this tire, meant to be aired down and ridden in like hard rock situations. So I still will wholeheartedly endorse these 216s. But enough of tearing about tires. We're gonna try and get out there and do some racing, and maybe when I get a second bike I might toss this on, or I might give this away to somebody who needs it. In the meantime, have a good one. And if you like the content, like and subscribe. If you don't, feel free to criticize me harshly. I also take payment in attaboys.